That's right, Vayetzei. We read about how Hashem meets Yaakov after Yaakov goes to sleep. He's sleeping in the place of the Temple Mount, and Hashem appears to him. Hashem says to him, the land that you are lying upon, that land that you're lying down on, this is the land that I will give to your children. This land that you're lying on, that's the land I'm going to give you. So there's a very similar comment that the Talmud makes in Chulin that Rashi makes in the Sixth Torah portion. Very similar, yet there's a slight variation. And from the slight variation, you could see that there's a totally different intent in what Rashi is saying versus what the Talmud is saying. Here's what Rashi says. Rashi says that Hashem took all of Israel, folded all of Israel under Yaakov's body. Hashem made this huge miracle. He took the millions of square miles of the land of Israel, and he took all of it and he squeezed it under the body of Yaakov. Why? In order to hint to Yaakov that it will be easy for his children to conquer the land of Israel. That's what Rashi says. The Talmud has a similar comment, but you'll see it's very different. The Talmud says, what's the big deal? He gets the land that he's lying on? How big is that? He's lying upon 4 cubits of land, 6 feet of land. What's the big deal that he gets such a small amount of land? So therefore the Talmud says that Hashem took all of Israel and squeezed all of Israel under the body of Yaakov. Talmud says in order that it should be easy for his children to conquer the land. That's the language of the Talmud. So the commentaries on Rashi, all the commentaries, they all seem to agree that Rashi was bothered by the same thing the Talmud is bothered by. What's the big deal that Hashem is promising him he's going to get 4 feet of land, 6 feet of land? That's not a lot of land. And therefore, Rashi has to say all the commentaries on Rashi, Rashi has to say that the issue is that what really happened was Hashem took all of Israel and he squeezed it on Yaakov's body. That's what the commentaries say. But there's a couple of issues with saying that Rashi here means the same thing as he does as what the Talmud means. Issue number one is this. Rashi continues and adds a line in his commentary on the Talmud. Now, Rashi's commentary on the Torah, on the Bible, is meant for a 5-year-old who begins to study the Torah. Rashi's commentary on the Talmud is meant for the 15-year-old who studies Talmud. And the path of studying the literal translation of the Torah is a whole different path than the path of studying the Talmud. And the rules, what's accepted in the axioms that Rashi's explanation on the Torah is based on, is very different from Rashi's commentary on the Talmud. So if something's obvious to the 5-year-old studying the Torah, then it's certainly obvious for the 15-year-old studying the Talmud. But if something's not obvious for the 15-year-old studying the Talmud, then it's for sure not obvious for the 5-year-old studying the Torah. So here what happens is that Rashi adds a line in his commentary on the Talmud, and he does not add a line in his commentary on the Torah, which seems to indicate that there's something else that Rashi is out to tell us here than what he's telling us in the Talmud. Rashi adds a line in the Talmud. Rashi says that why does Hashem take all of Israel and fold it under Yaakov's body? Rashi says in the Talmud that just like it's easier to conquer 6 feet of land, 4 amos of land, so too will be easy for Yaakov's children to conquer the land of Israel. So it's in order to make it easier for Jewish people to conquer the land of Israel. How easy? As easy as it is to conquer 6 feet of land. That's what Rashi says in the Talmud. So if Rashi doesn't say anything like this in the Torah, that means that Rashi takes for granted that the 5-year-old studying the Torah doesn't need to be told why this feat, this miracle of taking all of Israel and squeezing it under Yaakov's body, why that is significant vis-a-vis the conquering of the Jewish people over the land of Israel. He doesn't need to say this. Why? It seems like if he needs to tell the 15-year-old studying the Talmud, he should for sure have to tell the 5-year-old studying the Torah that the hint over here is what Hashem is telling Yaakov is is that it's going to be as easy as it is to conquer 6 feet of land. Rashi doesn't say that. Another thing that we see here that tells us that Rashi has something else, another intention than Rashi's commentary, than the Talmud, is this. Before every explanation of Rashi, Rashi has a heading. He has a title. So what's the difficulty according to the Talmud? What's wrong with this verse according to the Talmud that requires explanation? The difficulty according to the Talmud is that what's novel about getting just a small piece of land? Why your children will get this tiny piece of land that's 6 feet? That's a problem according to the Talmud. So Rashi, if that was what Rashi considered the problematic, Rashi should have quoted as the heading of his commentary the words, the land. What land is it? Just 4 feet? But instead, Rashi doesn't quote those words. Rashi instead quotes the words, the land that you're lying upon, the land that you're resting upon. Why is that? What's wrong with those words? We must say that Rashi has an issue with those words, and he's okay with the words of the Torah here, the land that you're lying upon. The words, the land, Rashi's okay with. He doesn't have the problem the Talmud has. He has a different problem with something else. So you have to understand, why does Rashi not have a problem with the issue the Talmud has? And why does Rashi have an issue with the other words, the land that you are, quote, lying upon? What is that? What's difficult about this? So there is another distinction between the way Rashi phrases things in his commentary here and the way it's expressed in the Talmud. In the Talmud it says, in order that it should be easy for your children to conquer the land, therefore Hashem took the land and squeezed it under Yaakov's body. According to the Talmud, Hashem did a miracle, yes, a completely outrageous miracle, but the miracle has a very critical purpose. The purpose is, by taking Israel and squeezing it under Yaakov's body, that somehow is a catalyst for the victory of the Jewish people over their enemies and conquering the land of Israel. So the purpose of taking the land of Israel and squeezing it under Yaakov's body is to help us conquer the land. Very, very hard to understand the exact miracle, how the miracle happened, but the purpose of the miracle is clear. But Rashi has a different words in the commentary in the Torah than he does in his commentary in the Talmud. He says the purpose of taking land and squeezing it under Yaakov's body is to hint to him that his children will be able to conquer the land. If you want to hint him something, then just tell it to him. There's a rule in the Talmud that Nisan Goyen writes, God does not do a miracle for unnecessarily. So if Hashem wants to give him a message, can you just tell him? Could he text it to him? Could he call him? Could he WhatsApp him? What's the purpose of taking all of the land of Israel, squeezing it under Yaakov's body just to give him the message? There will be easier for your children to conquer the land. What's the just say it. What's the idea over here? So there is an earlier place in the Torah where God does do this. God tells Avram, it will be easy. You will own this land. I will give you this land. Walk across this land to the length of the land, the breadth of the land. I'm going to give it to you. Hashem says to Avram, this land will be your land. So why doesn't Rashi say that, like the Talmud says, that the purpose of Hashem doing this miracle is to make it easier to conquer the land? So the simple reason why Rashi doesn't follow the path of the Talmud is because it's hard, according to the simple translation of the Torah, it's hard to wrap our heads around why would the land being under Yaakov's body have anything to do with generations later, hundreds and thousands of years later, the Jewish people conquering the land of Israel. What is one thing after the other? Why does that make it easier? Why does that help us today that Hashem took the land of Israel and put it on Yaakov's body? According to the simple translation of the Torah, that's difficult. So Rashi can't say that, but what Rashi does say is also difficult. Hashem is making this miracle to give you a message. Give them the message straight up. Tell you the message. What's the idea of Hashem taking the land of Israel and putting it on Yaakov's body to give Yaakov a message? What's the idea over here? So there is a third way of explaining it, and that's the Medrash. The Medrash has another twist on this. The Medrash says that it was an act of acquisition. Hashem was giving Yaakov the land of Israel and making an act of acquisition with Yaakov. Hashem was telling Yaakov, just like the language of the Medrash, people say what's under your head belongs to you. So Hashem was saying, okay, it's all under your head, it's all under your body. I'm giving you whatever's under your body. So according to the Medrash, we also understand that it wasn't just it wasn't for nothing. There was a purpose. It was an act of acquisition. And so Rashi could have explained it that way. Rashi's explanation here leaves us with wondering, why couldn't Hashem just tell it? The Gemara's explanation leaves us with wondering, how does Hashem putting land on the Yaakov's body make it easier to conquer the land generations later? But the idea of what the Medrash is saying, it was an act of acquisition, that seems to show Yaakov's ownership, seems to be something that would fit very well. And the truth is that the question is even greater, because when Hashem tells Avraham to walk across the length and breadth of the land, Rashi doesn't say anything. If Rashi doesn't say anything, that means that Rashi agrees with the simple way you would take it. What's the simple thing going on in Hashem telling Avram to walk across the land? The simple message is that it's an expression of ownership. Walk across this land is yours. So why doesn't it say the same thing over here? Here is the whole land of Israel, it's under your head, it's all yours. So the answer is this. Answer all these questions is this. The Chaim. I'm just going to pull the plug out from the front for a second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so sorry about that. So the answer is this. According to the simple translation of the Torah, when Hashem tells Yaakov, the land that you're lying upon belongs to you, I'm going to give it to you, there's no question about the size of the land. On the surface, when Hashem tells him the land you're lying upon, Hashem is not telling you only the land that fits under your body belongs to you. Rather, what Hashem is saying is the land, which land? The land that you're lying upon. This country, haaretz, the land, the country, I'm giving you the land that you're lying upon. That's the obviously referring to the whole land of Israel. Similarly to what the Torah says earlier on about Avram. Hashem tells Avram, what all that you see, I'm going to give you. Did Avram see the entire land of Israel? Even if Avram was in a very elevated place, it's hard to say that Avram saw every speck of Israel. So again, over there it also means Hashem wasn't telling Avram that he's going to only acquire what he sees with his eyes. Rather, Hashem was just telling him the land that you're looking at, the country that you're looking at, that's the land that I'm going to give you. So therefore Rashi doesn't have the question the Talmud has. The Talmud is wondering, only this bit of land? Rashi doesn't have that question. The simple translation of the Torah, the land means the country. This land, the famous land of Israel, that's the land I'm going to give you. But, okay, so that explains why Rashi doesn't go with the path of the Talmud. But the question though is, why does Hashem say the land you're lying upon? Hashem could have just said this land. Regarding Avram, when Hashem tells him, look at the land, that makes sense. Because Hashem is telling Avram, you got to give someone a gift. You tell them, hey, check out this gift. Let me tell you, I want you to recognize and appreciate what you're getting. Let me tell you what this is. Let's say you get someone some dumbbells, right? You want to tell them, this is a 5-pound dumbbell, this is a 10-pound dumbbell, this is how you use it, right? So Hashem...
I thought you were talking about students in the class.
Oh. So Hashem gives Avram the land of Israel. He says, look at the land of Israel. I want you to know this land that you're looking at, that's the land you're going to get. Doesn't mean only that you see. Hashem is telling him, look at the land, recognize your gift. What's Hashem telling Yaakov by telling him the land that you're lying upon? That's what Rashi is wondering. Why does Hashem add the words, the land you're lying upon? Just say this land. Why does Hashem tell him the land you're lying upon? And therefore Rashi says that the land was taken and all the millions of square miles land of Israel was taken and it was squeezed onto the body of Yaakov as a sign of the ownership of the Jewish people, a sign that it's going to be easy to conquer the land of Israel. So according to the Drash way of interpreting Torah, gifting the land of Israel to Yaakov requires an act of acquisition, requires something to be done on our part. But according to the simple translation of the Torah, Hashem gave it to you. Hashem gave it to you, it's yours. You don't have to do an act of acquisition. According to the Talmud above Basra, according to the Medrash, Hashem gives the land of Israel to Avraham, and it tells him to walk across the land to make an act of acquisition. But according to the simple translation of the Torah, Hashem is telling Aaron to walk across the land of Israel. Hashem tells him walk to the length and breadth of the land, not to make an act of acquisition. According to the simple translation of the Torah, it's more like feel like you're the owner. This is yours. Like walk across this. This is yours. It's like put on the shoes and feel how it feels. These are your shoes. Hashem tells Avram, walk across the land of Israel. This is your land. That's a simple event that's happening in the story of Avram. Hashem is telling him, walk across and feel that you're the owner. What's happening here? Here, you can't say the same thing. Here, you can't say Hashem is telling him, feel that you're the owner. Why not? Because Hashem didn't tell him, hey, lie down upon this land. This land is yours. He didn't do that. Yaakov was already lying on the land. He was already sleeping on the land. He wakes up and gets off the land. It wasn't that Hashem told him to do it. He didn't do anything. He just went, he slept, he got up. Hashem didn't tell him, feel like you're the owner. He didn't do anything. And therefore, Rashi has to say that it says a whole different message over here. This is something that is about the future. Hashem is giving a message to Yaakov, and he took the whole land of Israel and squeezed it on Yaakov's body, and this is a message to him. What's the message? The message is, and according to the simple translation of the Torah, it's a far greater message. It's a wondrously more comforting message than the message that the Talmud says. The Talmud says, hey, you know how easy it's going to be to conquer the land of Israel? As easy it will be to conquer 6 feet. I mean, 6 feet in football, it's pretty hard, right? You want to get to that few yards down. It's not so easy to conquer a few yards. So it's you have to choose. You want to do the pick six or the field goal? It's not so simple. So here, however, according to Rashi, not like the Talmud, Rashi says the land you lie down on. It's like the story of Chizkiah. The Torah says that he was contending with a huge army of Sancheriv, and he turns to Hashem and he says to Hashem like this. He says, my grandfather, he had to fight a war, and it was impossible, and he fought and he won. My father had to fight a war, and it was impossible, and he prayed to you, and he didn't fight, but he prayed to you and he won. Chizkiah says, I don't have power to fight, I don't have power to pray. I'm going to lie down on this land, I'm going to lie down, go to sleep in my bed, and you, Hashem, will win the war for us. That's what Chizkiah said. That's what Hashem is telling Yaakov. Hashem is telling Yaakov, the land you lied upon, just like you saw you lie down upon the land, and you relaxed upon the land, that's how it's going to be in the conquering of the land of Israel. It's going to be in a way of just simply, without any difficulty, so easily, just like the way you slept on the land. That's the way Rashi explains the Torah. Now Rashi also has a wine element in Rashi. Rashi doesn't only give us a simple translation of the Torah. Rashi tells us something deeper for our lives that we have to live with. In addition to the simple message of Rashi, there's also wine. So what's the wine of Torah here? Wine of Torah is like this. This week is the Mitzvah Rebbe's birthday, the anniversary of passing, and the day of redemption. Mitzvah Rebbe says that in the area around your body, the deepest part of your soul shines. Why? Why is the deepest part of your soul shine around your body? Because other parts of the soul can be contained by various organs. Your mind contains one part of the soul, your heart contains another part of the soul, your body contains another part of the soul. But then there are transcendent parts of the soul that your body isn't a vessel to hold. And they can't come into your body. Instead, there's an aura around your body. In the place around you, that's where the Mitzvah Rebbe says, in the Dal Damas, in the 6 feet around you, that's where your Yechida extends. That's why halachically, if something is in your domain, there's that you can make an act of acquisition on it even without doing anything. but different subject. But getting back to our subject. So all the other parts of the soul have parallel parts that challenge them. Let's say, for example, the part of the soul called nefesh. Nefesh is the ability to be obedient to Hashem. Just like you can be obedient to Hashem, so too you can be obedient to what the fashion world wants you to do, what your neighbors want you to do, what your peer pressure is telling you to do. Ruach means to love. Just like you could love Hashem, you could also have love and be attracted to things which you shouldn't be attracted to. And neshama, just like you could have understanding of the oneness of Hashem, you could also have an understanding of something which is contrary to the oneness of Hashem. Chaya means a desire to be close to Hashem beyond logic and reason, but there also could be a similar animalistic attraction to something which is lower than logic and reason. But then there is love of Yechidah. The love of Yechidah is the reason why Jews have always decided to give their lives rather than sever their bond with Hashem. The love of Yechidah knows of no opposition. The love of Yechidah is, in the language of the Alter Rebbe, the part of us that does not want and cannot separate from Hashem. There's no choice. Love of Yechidah. It's not like we choose to give our lives. It's like we can't not give our lives. That's how the perspective is from the level of Yechidah. I can't think of severing my bond with Hashem. So when the love of Yechidah is revealed, there is no opposition. There's no opposition. That's similar to what we read in the Torah this week. Yaakov lies now in the land of Israel. He's relaxing in the land of Israel. In a similar way, the level of Yechidah in the four Amos around us, the level of Yechidah is something which knows of no opposition. It's a part of us which is able to easily vanquish the enemies of our own personal land of Israel within. So this is the message that Hashem is telling Yaakov, that just like there's no opposition for your Yechidah, just like there's nothing that can counter this part of your soul because of its unshakable bond with Hashem, so too will the land of Israel be easily conquested by your children. They'll be able to be victorious over their enemies. And the Rebbe promises us in the Torah that the Jewish people do tshuva at the end of the exile, and immediately Hashem will redeem us. And the Rebbe said many times that the amount of tshuva that we need to do to bring Mashiach has already been done, and it's time to see the easy, simple, sleepwalking conquest of the land of Israel. See it happen in Korav Mamish, Chaim.
A message to Yaakov.